Hi, everybody. Welcome to Book Brag. I'm Wendy Walker, and I'm here with my co-host, Lynne Constantine of the writing duo Live Constantine. And we are so thrilled to welcome today author Peter Swanson. So welcome. Peter Swanson is the New York Times best-selling author of 7 novels, including 8 Perfect Murders, The Kind Worth Killing, and his latest, Every Vow You Break, which is out today. He lives with his wife on the North Shore of Massachusetts, and I love this, is always working on his next novel because it's so true, right? We're always working on another novel.
Thinking about it, if not writing about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So welcome, Peter. Lynne, take it away.
Hey, yes, we're so happy to have you here today. So we'd like to start off just with a brief description of your book. Tell readers in a few sentences what Every Vow You Break is all about.
So Every Vow You Break is about, the main character is Abigail Baskin, and she is a bride-to-be. And on her bachelorette weekend, she's a slightly hesitant bride-to-be. She has a one-night stand with a stranger on her bachelorette weekend, a very drunken one-night stand. Obviously freaks out about this, but decides to put it behind her and go through the wedding. And on her honeymoon, the stranger from that night shows up, and she's at a resort off the coast of Maine on an island. So she's basically been stalked there by this stranger. So it's a little bit like a Fatal Attraction premise with the genders reversed. And from there, and I'm not going to talk any more about it, but it takes some sort of unique twists and turns. The story changes a little bit.
That sounds amazing. How did you get this idea?
Well, it's funny because I think my inspiration for this book was more about the type of book I want to write as opposed to the specific plot. You're both thriller writers, so you know that the expectations these days is that thrillers are about 80,000 words, and to write an 80,000 word thriller, you have to write a complex thriller. It often has, my books often have like 2 or 3 narrative voices, so you see the story from different perspectives. They often have different time frames where like a past time frame is influencing the present time frame. So I really wanted to write a book, even like a shorter thriller, because I'm a big fan of older thrillers. And if you look at those are often like 50, 60,000 words. I wanted to write a shorter thriller where it just happened in real time. There was no backstory. It was more like just event happening to someone. And I'd always had this idea of a sort of gender reversed fatal attraction of a woman having an affair and then trying to shed that man. So that was the story that came up. So it was a lot having to do with, I guess I'm calling it like a linear thriller. It's just her perspective. Everything that happens in the book, you learn the moment she learns it. So there's none of this trickiness that you sometimes put into thrillers to make them more complex.
I love that.
So was that harder to write or easier, or than what you were? How did you find the experience?
This is what's funny. One of the things that I learned from doing this, from writing this thriller, I thought it would be easier. I was like, oh, I don't have to figure out all these dates and stuff. This is just happening. And I said, I'm going to write this really fast. I'm going to try and write this in 2 months. And I had this whole thing. And then I worked on it for 2 years, and it was as complicated and hard to write as every other book.
Sure.
It doesn't matter that the structure was simpler on paper, because the structure is always so hard because, you have to build a story and you have to reveal information. It was just as hard as every other book. That's exactly what I learned, which was a bit of a surprise because I think a part of me embarked on it thinking it might be somewhat easier. Not true.
So what is your favorite review? This is why we call it Book Brag, because we love for authors to just read their favorite review so that viewers can get a taste for what other people are saying about it.
All right. Well, I did just get a review. I don't tend to read my reviews, but I got this one. This was from a reviewer in the UK. Wrote me a very good review, and I'm going to read a part of it. She writes, this is Pam Norfolk. She writes, and after a cleverly understated opener, I love that because, instead of saying it starts off slow, She says cleverly understated
Cleverly
opener.
understated.
Like I planned that. I like that. And after a cleverly understated opener, this is a story that soon starts to pick up pace, gathering with it an increasing and disturbing sense of unease and claustrophobia, and unleashing a shocking series of events that catapult Abigail into the kind of outrageous horror movie plot that she always loved watching. Expect the unexpected and enjoy the ride. So
That's
Wow, that
awesome.
sounds good.
Great review.
So if you had to go into that book world and be just other than Abigail, who would it be and why?
yeah, there's not a lot. It's not a lot of characters in this book I'd like to be. I will say in her backstory, she comes from Western Mass, and her parents. She's the only daughter of parents who run a small regional theater in Western Mass. And I quite like the father character, and he sort of both the parents wound up being sort of touchstones in the book as she goes through sort of her trauma. She thinks about them a lot. She's very close, and I quite like the father, who's this sort of bookish theater nerd running this theater out in Western Mass. So I'll pick Abigail's dad.
I love when you get attached to these other, to the minor,
Yeah,
characters,
of course.
not that they are any minor, but yeah, sometimes they take on a whole different life than you expect. All right, so now we're going to get into the lightning round, let readers get a little more personal. So we'll start with a writer question everyone gets: pantser or plotter?
Pantser.
Okay.
Are you an introvert or an extrovert?
There's some word for like I've seen people put it out there, like an extroverted introvert.
Yeah.
I'm an introvert. I'm a sober introvert, and I'm a 2-drink extrovert. Put it that way.
That's
Okay.
perfect. I love that.
Yeah, that is good. I like it. Cat or dog?
Well, my cat's right over here giving me a look, so I gotta say cat.
That is a cat. Okay.
Nice. What is your favorite place to write, if you have one?
Yeah, I mean, my office. I'm not a coffee shop writer, and my office, and with a door closed, I don't need a view. I just need a door that closes. I like to be surrounded by books, and actually, I often write on a couch too instead of a desk.
Nice. Favorite word?
Oh, so I guess I like the word murder, but I specifically like the way that Alan Cummings says it in the Masterpiece Mystery openings. And I can't do the impression, but he says something like murder.
Pretty good.
Yeah, and I love how he says it. So I say murder, but only as Alan Cummings says it in that.
Okay.
So what are you currently binge watching?
This is actually it was originally a Masterpiece Mystery, but I love the show Unforgotten. Ironically, it's a title I always forget. It's with Nicola Walker and Sanjeev Bhaskar, and it's an English detective series about cold cases. I think it's on Amazon Prime. It's really good, but I will say that all the seasons are good. Season 2 is one of the best mystery seasons I feel like I've seen in the past 5 years. Really, really great.
What is there a book that you read in one night that you can share with us?
Read a few. I think recently I read, and I know it's a few years old, but the S.J. Watson book, Before I Go to Sleep, where the person has the 24-hour memory. They made a movie with Nicole Kidman.
I loved both.
I ripped through that book in one night. I was like, I had to know what happened. That was very good.
Yeah.
Is there a book that you wish you'd written?
So I'm going to go a little out on left field here. The book is Lucky Jim by Kingsley Amis, which is kind of my favorite book. And the reason I say I wish I'd written it is it's a funny book, and I'd love to be able to write funny. I can't. And I'm happy to write thrillers, but there's something about the idea of writing a book that makes people laugh out loud. I'd love to be able to do that.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so along those lines, if you had to be something other than a writer, what would that be?
I would definitely stay in the book world. I would be a bookseller. I was a bookseller right out of college, But I would definitely be a bookseller, and I would love to be in a used bookstore because I love the idea of, boxes of books coming in and sorting through them and looking for treasures and all that sort of thing. So I would love to work in a used bookstore.
Yeah. And finally, what fictional character would you like to have dinner with?
Fictional character dinner. Well, I'll say Hercule Poirot would be very entertaining. Also very dangerous, because I think like any time that Poirot is like at dinner, someone dies. So I actually
Favorite word, right? Murder.
that might be dangerous to have dinner with him, because it's not going to end well.
That sounds good. Very good. All right. Well, that about wraps us up for today. So Every Vow You Break is out today and available everywhere books are sold. Peter, can you just let readers know where they can connect with you online?
Yeah. So you can go to my website, which is peterswanson.com, but it's Peter with a hyphen between. So peter-swanson.com. And then that has links to Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all those, and links for the books as well.
Perfect. Well, thanks for being with us, and congratulations on your new release.
Thank you, guys. It was fun.